Well, this is Dan Eisenberg. We're back in our ninth episode, I think, if I'm counting correctly, of Scale App Podcasts. I'm very proud that we've had 8 amazing founders and founder teams who are growing their companies. Scale App Podcast, just to remind you, is about how you grow companies, not how you start them. Because I always ask myself, and I've been involved in entrepreneurship for a good few decades now in various roles. I've always asked myself, why do we focus on startups so much if they don't grow? The whole idea is for them to build companies that are viable, impactful companies, whether they're impactful for the shareholders or for their customers or for society. If they don't grow, then they're not going to have impact. I was having a conversation with a very good friend of mine runs one of the largest startup organizations in the world. And I asked him, what about profits and revenues? Is that important? Do you know of anybody who measures those? And he looked at me, or we were talking on the phone. So there was sort of this dead silence on the phone. He said, why would that be relevant for startups? I'm paraphrasing. And of course, I don't agree with that. I think if you don't have some concept of building a venture of scale, and you define what scale is, but if you don't have a concept of what scale looks like, then you shouldn't be starting a company, or at least you start a very different kind of company. So we've been really fortunate in having scale ups, companies that are actually scaling beyond $5 million of revenues. We've even had Guesty, which is well over 100 million, and Care Syntax, which is getting close to 100 million in revenues. We've had companies from Israel, from Greece, from Germany, from India recently, and of course from the United States. It's not, come on, it's not about Silicon Valley. There's talent all over the world, and there's access to opportunities all over the world. So that's what Scale App Podcast is about. And I'm really excited to have on the podcast today the two co-founders of a growing company called Trio Mobil. This is Nevzat Atakli and Baris Ozdemir. I hope I'm pronouncing their names correctly. They're originally from Turkey, both of them from Turkey. And the venture, the Trio Mobil, was started in Turkey and got traction in Turkey, but they're based in the United States now. And I actually have to say, I do love Turkey. I love the Eastern Mediterranean in general, but I also have a warm spot in my heart for Turkey, where I've been over 30 times and had some wonderful experiences there. So I'm here with Nevzat and Baris. And so I'm just going to ask them, we're going to talk about Trio Mobil in just a few minutes. But first, I want to ask about the people, because, it is about the people. So Nevzat, if you wouldn't mind starting us out, just tell us, who is Nevzat Atakli? Leave Trio Mobil aside for a while. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
First, thank you for having us today, Dan. It's great being here. I mean, it is one of the most difficult questions when you ask someone who is Nevzat or who is Baris. So, I can say I'm an engineer by background. I'm a curious person. I'm a problem solver. I love to solve problems that makes people's life difficult. Using my intellectual power, time, invest everything on that. So solving the problems make me happy. I have a kid, a daughter, 9-year-old. I'm married, working 16, 18 hours in the weekdays and having fun on weekends. We have a camper. We go seaside with family, spend time with friends, travel a lot. I can say I'm living on a plane, going to US, Europe, and the other parts of the world frequently. Even I made a round trip in a day to US from Istanbul if I need to meet customers and partners. So briefly, this is who I am.
Great. Thank you. Baris?
Yeah, so it's my turn now. I'm CTO and co-founder of Trio Mobil. Well, I guess we're coming from the similar backgrounds with Nevzat. I'm more into maybe software development and engineering. Maybe I might consider myself a geek, but I'm too old for that, maybe, to call myself that. But
You don't. Sorry, Baris. I see all of our three pictures, and you do not have the right to call yourself too old, at least in this group.
Thank you for that. So yeah, I don't know. Since my universities, I've been involved with this software development ventures, and Mobil is the best one yet, let's say. And we've been working with Nevzat for a good while, and yeah, and I'm also a father. But I have two kids, 9 and 4 year old, and we're living in Cambridge, UK. So that's a little bit of a yeah, different story than most.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I hope we recycle back to the family aspect of it, because I think it's different being a founder grower with a family and without a family. But let's put a pin on that. Hope we get to it. And so you knew each other before the founding of Trio Mobile. Is that right?
Yes, we met in college, but Baris doesn't remember that. After the college, I reached out to him and said, "Hey, Baris, I want to start a company, and you are the best founder I ever known. So let's do it together." And he said, "Oh yeah, Nevzat, yeah, sure, let's do it." And after 3 years, he told me, "Nevzat, I didn't remember you during college times. I just liked the project very much. This is why I joined you."
So there's a connection that you'd forgotten. That's wonderful.
I don't have the sharpest memory, I have to admit, yeah.
Wait till you get really old. So now tell the story. Leave the numbers aside for a second. Tell the story of Trio Mobile. What is the company? What problem are you trying to solve, and how did you discover that problem?
Great question. Great question. So as I mentioned, as engineers, we love to solve problems that makes people's life difficult. And workplace safety is one of the difficult problems, social problems. I mean, there are more than 300 million accidents every year. So it's a real problem. I mean, and we have seen that many industries were having that challenge, and we have seen various examples of problem that could be solved with IoT and AI at the very early times of
Wait, hold on.
technologies.
Hold on a second. I have to just pause right there. What do you mean we discovered? I mean, you don't walk down the streets of, of Beyoğlu or Cambridge, and people are telling you, I have a problem with workplace safety because I have too many forklifts running around. So what did that mean you discovered?
Actually, I mean, we were developing technologies based on AI and IoT, and industrial plants were a target for us. We had sensors for machines and other stuff, but what we have seen, keeping other things aside, the customer wanted us to have a look at their safety problems. And after seeing that these problems, because if you listen carefully, the market is pulling you in one direction. The people start telling you about safety challenges, problems, accidents that they are having. And we have seen that the problem was a very, very big problem. And with new emerging technologies, we could solve these problems. So we started with a broader portfolio of products, industrial sensors, IoT platform to address different challenges in factories. But what we have seen, safety was the most pressing problem for many organizations. This is why we keep everything aside and we focused our 100% time and effort on safety challenges, excellence in workplaces.
Mm-hmm. So again, I want to just go back a little bit more. Does that mean you had projects with industrial customers? Were you consultants to these industries, or did you go out actually and start talking with logistics managers or safety managers? How did you find out who to talk to?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we had a small sales organization. We reached out to especially mid-market customers at that time about how IoT could contribute to their efficiency, how it could make everything more predictable for them, how they could leverage data. So this is how the early discussions started. But after a while, we have seen that for many organizations, safety was a more pressing issue, the accidents, etc. And for example, we got a solution for real-time locating of people and assessing the factory. And the customers asked us, hey, can we use that technology to just detect pedestrians around forklifts and slow down the forklifts? So I mean, the market is just asking the right questions, and when you focus your time and energy on that, you can see where is that pulling you. So this is how in early times we have seen the safety problems. And interestingly, we started the mid market, but we have seen that much larger organizations even didn't have any solution in place. So this is how we start talking with upmarket customer, Fortune 1000 customers, and then Triumph became a company targeting only Fortune 1000 customers. So as you know, most successful startups, if they want to transform to be scale-ups, they have to listen to market, they have to pivot. This is the only way you can do that, because no one does actually know what to do before starting the company, actually running that and iterating over and over. It's impossible. So this is also our journey is very similar to that. For 1.5 years, we have iterated, and found our spot in the market, then started scaling our market position.
For the iterations, you got pulled back over and over again to the problem of safety in facilities, industrial and warehouse facilities. Is that the right way to put it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So now, today, what is Trio Mobile?
So actually, today, Mobil is a safety technology company. We are using AI technology to make workplaces safer for people. So to protect lives, to help safety professionals to prevent accidents. So we are a close partner to Fortune 1000 companies, helping them globally apply the same technology over 100 countries globally, using the same standards, same technology, same solution. And at the end of the day, with our solutions, we are proud to say that most customers have reached zero accident level, having tens of accidents annually before our solutions, and then solutions are live and they reach to zero accidents. So today we have a safety technology company, a close partner to Fortune 1000 companies.
I see. That's so that's the real pain that you've discovered and found that you could solve. So how do you solve it? Let's say you start engaging with a Coca-Cola. I see that as on one of your sites, that's one of your big customers. Let's say Hellenic Coca-Cola. What does that look like? Do you sell them software, hardware, solutions? Do you give them advice? How does it work?
Great question. So
And Baris, you're going to have to jump in here because we're just on a roll. So feel free to interrupt anytime.
Okay.
I mean, so the solution, we have smart edge devices and a cloud software. So we have smart.
Right. What is a smart edge device? You're talking simple. At least one simple listener. That's me.
You're a professor, so I mean, they are smart AI cameras. They are wearable devices, so they interact in real time and they proactively generate alarms. For example, if you are in close proximity with a forklift, you will have vibration and forklift automatically slow down. So the edge part, the smart devices, make that part. They are AI generated devices, so they are smart. They learn the environment. They communicate between each other to detect any risk of collision and slow down the forklift.
So the camera is, to be simple, there's a camera.
We have a product suite. So we have smart cameras, we have wearable devices, we have location sensors. So it's a combination of everything. And we have an enterprise grade cloud platform. You have rules. For example, if a pedestrian is closer than 10 feet to a forklift, then there should be light and alarms on forklift. The pedestrian should get a vibration, and that should be sent to the safety manager via email. So you can have 100 of rules with that, and with our system, you can apply the same rules automatically in hundreds of sites globally. So it's a combination of smart devices and enterprise cloud. Baris, by the way, you are the builder of that platform, so please jump in.
Yeah, I can talk about the cloud software part. Yeah, as Nevzat said, the edge devices are well, they need to prevent the accidents or do something about it right at that moment. But then the cloud part, the cloud software part, the IoT platform we built is to, store all the data, and I don't know, the metrics, the video clips, if there is, if that's the case, and then let all those data consumed by the customer when they need it. I mean, when we're talking about that data, we're not, of course, talking about a couple of things here and there. Of course, this is big data, and all those devices, I mean, hundreds of them in one site, and the data is big, and we have to come up with a smart way to crunch this data and make the data visible to customer.
So it's all the way up. So to understand, you have some sensors and devices on the edge.
Yeah.
I'll come back to that in a second. You have those, and then you have software, and then on top of that, you have some administrative layer as well, I imagine, so that the chief safety officer or logistics or facilities manager can get reports, understand, are we getting better? Are we complying with the regulations, et cetera? Is that the kind of
exactly
multi-layered service that you offer?
Exactly. I mean, it is not only just giving you the data of your data to yourself, but also giving you insights about what's going on. I mean, more often than not, the managers, let's say, might not know about what's happening in the facility, at least not in real time. So it's we are enabling, this type of service as well. So
I can know that in this particular area, for example, are more alerts about collisions than maybe in other areas. So I have to think about, what do I do to make that area safer even before there are accidents, that sort of thing?
Exactly. I mean, that's a perfect example. Our customers do this assessment every day and then adjust their daily work, so it won't happen again, or it won't happen as much.
Yeah. So, as I'm the safety manager, I would want to pay for that, right? I would say, this is my job is on the line. I have a budget. This is what I pay for. Just to be clear, though, so when you say pedestrians, you're talking about people who are walking around in the facilities, not people in shopping malls necessarily, not what we would call. These are people who are walkers. People walk my feet. There are forklifts, there are robots, there are other things moving around. You'll put different kinds of devices, both data acquisition devices and also transmission devices on the people, on the forklifts, on the pallets, wherever you need to put them, right? So you'll be networked in a multimedia way. You'll have all these different inputs and outputs of data that you're combining and giving it real time and also not real time actionable actions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's just think about you are the VP safety for a global organization, and let's say you are having 100 accidents per year. The system eliminates 95 of them, so risk reduction, accident reduction, and from our platform, you can view 100 of them. So near miss, the video clip from that time, what happened, why did that happen? It's like the dream of a safety manager. It's like a dream of a safety leader.
Well, it sounds like so much of a dream that, again, just to be a little bit maybe provocative, are you sure that somebody else hasn't already solved this problem? It seems like kind of a very, very clear and painful and huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
There are two guys in Istanbul. I'm exaggerating, obviously. Two guys that come up with the solution, and then you have all these big consulting firms and industrial engineering firms, and they haven't solved it.
It's two of us. Yeah, it's a huge I mean, we're working with a great team, and we're building this technologies all together. Just wanted to mention also, I mean, of course, there are solutions to problems all the time, but solutions are improving, technology is advancing, and now I suppose we are in a position where we can provide a superior solution to prevent the accidents and, I don't know, improve the safety better than before, naturally. And also, it's not it's never only about the product. It's about execution, about the global presence, about the after sales, about the quality of the service you're going to provide. I think not only I believe we have a great set of products, but we also offer a great I don't know, customer experience, which is essential in most of the cases. Yeah.
So tell us.
By the way,
about that.
I think we also forget about the near past very quickly, because I mean 5 years ago there wasn't any useful AI for people. So I mean the solutions were not viable. That there wasn't a technology to use AI for that purpose. Now I have smart AI cameras, for example, can detect a danger in 100 milliseconds and can shut down a machine or slow down the forklift in real time. I mean, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the technology was not there.
So does that mean AI? So what is everyone talks about AI these days, and 9 people who talk about don't understand, and 1 person does, and I'm maybe the 9. I'm one of the 9. So AI means that device can, in a way, with some software, make a decision by itself or come to some action recommendation by itself based on knowledge and data. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, it's the general definition of AI. In our case, for example, our smart AI cameras can understand the environment, where are the pedestrians, where are the forklifts, where are the pallets, racks, and then they can understand the risk of collision between different objects. So if the system says the risk is higher than the threshold, it starts alarming, etc. So, I mean, we are actually using AI in the heart of the essence of our solution. This is why, by the way, we didn't see these technologies in industrial sites, because, as I mentioned, maybe for the last 100 years, the industrial companies are having the same type of accidents every day. But until last 4-5 years, there wasn't a good enough technology to solve that. There were some technologies, but I mean, the technologies were far from good to solve their problems.
Okay, now let's sort of change course a little bit and see if you can go back and tell us the story of Mobil, a very short story, short version of it, before we go on to other topics, just by the numbers, whatever numbers you can tell us, including a rough revenue range. By the way, you've told me that I can say 8 figures in dollars or euro is a fair sort of statement. You can't tell your actual revenues. So at least listeners can get an idea of the scale we're talking about. But give us some numbers that tell the story of Mobil today.
Sure. I mean, we are around 250 people working together globally. As you mentioned, we are running at 8-figure revenue currently. In 3 years, hopefully it will be 9 figures. So this is why we are working 18 hours a day. Our solutions are working in 2,000 sites globally, protecting millions of workers. And our platform now manages more than 1 million smart devices. So it's a huge volume. Billions of messages, video clips are interpreted through our AI platform. So these are some quick numbers.
And how many customers do you have, roughly, range?
So more than 1,000 customers.
Wow. And it sounds like, if everything you say is correct, that if you can get to the right person, your sales cycle must be very short and your conversion rate very high and your churn rate very low. Is that fair to say?
No. Again, it's a dream for any company to have low sales cycles, a quick conversion, high conversion rate. So, if you are selling to enterprise, you can't sell in a sales cycle less than 6-8 months. So this is the case for us as well. So on average, our sales cycle is like 6 months for projects, for both pilots and rollouts as an average. So conversion rates is I can say, especially after starting a project, and when the customer sees the value, we quickly roll out the solution. I can say, but of course, it takes a lot of time and effort until you get to that point. There are lots of challenges because these 41,000 companies have lots of big problems. I mean, tariffs, other stuff impacting the business every day. So you need to get a high signal over the noise to get notified, etc. But in our case, I think, especially it's a numbers game. If you are operating 1,000 forklifts, you will have 100 accidents annually. So every quarter, every month, you will have accidents. So it is making our type of solutions more urgent than other stuffs. In next 5-6 years, I expect maybe 80% of large organizations will have solutions rolled out for these purposes.
And you sell a solution, right? When you go into a customer, you don't charge them for every single camera or vest or sensor or transmitter, right? You charge, as I understood it from our previous conversation, I won't say you give them away for free, but the cost of that is rolled into the cost of the entire project. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's a subscription business. So we are providing a turnkey solution for our customers. We understand their challenges. We have a great product suite. We tailor the product suite to address their needs. And then they are paying flat subscription fees to us, including the hardware, cloud, connectivity, and everything. Because, I mean, we are not a box mover. We are not selling products to our customers. We are solving their problems. This requires consultation, this requires hardware, this requires connectivity, cloud platform, AI tools. So we are giving everything as a bundle subscription to our customers.
I'm going to assume that you're sticky, that your churn rate is low. But again, you may say also that's a dream. But it'd be hard. Once you give me all those sensors and I install those sensors and cameras and all these things, if it's working, why would I switch, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are sticky, so getting to that point is not easy. But after getting that point, we are quite sticky because the results are impressive as well. The problem is solved. The customers can't imagine the times they don't have our solution, because I personally hear that from many customers. They say, "I wish I had that solution 2 years earlier because we lost a colleague here. If we got that technology, the accident would be prevented." So it is like becoming the standard compliance of the factory after we get into that factory.
Well, look, guys, there's so many things that I want to talk about here. We might have to have another session, but I do want to switch gears just a little bit in order to keep this podcast relatively short. Let's first talk about some of the challenges you've had in actually growing this organization, which is now 250 people. It's global. You're serving customers certainly in North America, certainly in Europe, and let's say the Mediterranean, Middle East. I didn't see too many customers in Asia yet, or in, let's say, the global South, South America or Africa. I'm sure that's going to come. So what have been some of the challenges or mistakes that you've made in growing the company to where you are now?
So I will tell you 2 major challenges that's in my agenda. And Baris, you can also tell 2 of the challenges you are having in your agenda. So let's make it fair. So for me, for example, number 1 challenge is we are serving to 41,000 companies, and they are everywhere. They are in some countries I didn't hear before getting the orders. So you have to deliver solutions to them from APAC. For example, we have solutions in Europe, we have solutions in Africa. You said South Africa, we have some sites implemented in South Africa, we have some sites implemented in Philippines. So Mexico, different parts of the world. So it means there are lots of time zones and geographies we have to serve. So this is a challenge. But of course, we have spent a lot of time with a great team to make that hurdle easier for us, easier for our customers, and create a differentiation here. Because most of the time, our customers want to have single vendors all across the globe.
Yeah.
So this is one challenge.
Yeah.
The other challenge is, of course, building a A-class team. So it's an endless effort, and you never know you have the best possible team. So because I mean, you can be comfortable, you can think that you have the best team, etc. But it's again, you have to iterate. You have to just get better people to the organization, spend a lot of time on that. So these are two challenges for me, Baris.
Yeah. I think I might have a different idea of challenge. I'm trying to answer this question, but I guess I don't feel like. Of course, I mean, what Nevzat said are valid challenges, and I hear about them all the time. But when it comes to the technical side of things, yeah, I think the only thing I can mention is well, now we have a lot of customers all around the world, and once we start working with them, I mean, most of the time they're pretty happy working with us. I mean, in terms of I mean the service they get, etc. But before we start, as Nevzat mentioned, sales cycles are long, etc. But But also I mean, we also have to meet with their IT people. I don't know. They have to assess us. A lot of documents are being sent and received. I don't know, dozens of them with each customer. So it really takes a lot of time, and maybe that's one of the things that I might find it challenging.
So the sort of the technical side of the sales.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of the time we come to it. I mean, I don't know, good point that everybody's happy, of course, and we proceed. But yeah, the technicalities also takes a lot of time. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, of course, if I were them, I would ask the same questions, but just giving the same answers to hundreds of customers, it's a bit of a challenge.
A friend of mine was a famous entrepreneurship professor used to refer to this as impedance mismatch between startups and big customers. Your dream is to have a big customer who can afford to pay, but there's kind of an impedance mismatch of frequencies. They operate on very different time cycles, and they operate on a very different resolution of data and making their decisions. And that's a challenge. It's a very practical challenge for companies. But you've raised venture capital along the way, right? So, because I know you, disclosure, I'm a limited partner in, I don't know if it's your only or your main venture capital investor, 212 VC. It's a Turkish-based fund. I think it's a very good one. Otherwise, I wouldn't be an LP. So are there other investors, and how's that process been?
Sure. I mean, 8 months ago, we closed a bigger round with New Spring Capital to want to join that round again. So a US-based growth fund, I can define like that. So we have great investors to want to help us to start the global scaling and introduce us with a lot of investors, smart people around. And now New Spring is doing the same thing for even growing faster in US. So it's like working like teams. For us, by the way, it was the number one criteria always. Because I mean, you can find money, but you also need smart, experienced people with great networks to make that venture successful.
So the sales pitch of these venture capitalists, I've been a venture capitalist, the sales pitch of these venture capitalists that, oh, we're more than money, we're value added, actually can be true in some cases, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You need to carefully assess what you hear and confirm. So, but there are lots of great VCs, growth funds, who actually help the companies to scale with networks, experience, financial compliance. So there are lots of things that we'll learn from our investors.
So let's cycle back to what you said at the very beginning, and maybe we end with the last challenge. It's not the last challenge, but it's a very different kind of challenge. And it's a challenge of managing your personal life, family life, while you're managing your entrepreneurial life at the same time. You both have children. I have children. I know what it's like building a company when you do have a small and growing family. How has that been? Have there been sort of challenges in that respect or stresses in that respect? And how have you dealt with the because I've heard this from other entrepreneurs that have actually been on the podcast, who have said things such as, I wish I'd had my children sooner, because I had my children when I was building my company, and that was like building 3 companies at the same time, parallel. What's been your experiences, both of you? You both have 9-year-olds, I think, and you have a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Baris?
Well, I mean, we started early. I mean, when we were rather young with Nevzat, so the first, half of the this adventure was we didn't have kids, so no, not that long. Anyway, so we were young and we had all the time in the world. So I guess we were working hard. I mean, long hours, and we were. I don't know. We didn't think about anything else, just to focus on the work, make it work. Maybe we were wasting half of our time, but who knows? But after after I have kids, firstly, you're more motivated. Now you have a family, and you have to think about them, their future, etc. And time becomes a lot more precious. Now you know how you should spend time. I mean, if we can't manage it right, either you're going to miss some stuff from work or from your family's time. It's just you have to do a lot of things right most of the time. So in the end, you know, both sides of your life can prosper. So yeah, so I guess we are focusing on what matters, and now also we have a better lifestyle. I mean, I have to wake up early. I can't just stay late until the mornings working on things. Yeah, so I think, yeah, overall it helps a lot. Of course, this is just my case. I'm not saying you should have a kid if you want to succeed, but in my experience, it really helped us focus on what matters the most, and then gives me motivation to work more, let's say.
Were there challenges in convincing, let's say, your parents, your aunts and uncles, your spouse, your spouse's parents, and so on, that what you're doing, although it's risky, is a good thing to do, and they should support it, because it's it's still a little bit uncommon in Turkey.
I mean,
Let's say the U.S.
I mean, we both had decent jobs before we started, and then and it was a gradual movement to this adventure. And I remember my father was a bit skeptic in the beginning, but then it didn't took so much before he was convinced as well, as he saw the progress. Of course, he was he was not he just wanted to make sure we are going to be okay in the long run. Yeah. Other than that, I think I had a lot of people supporting me along the way.
I think we are also lucky in terms of the spouses we have, because I mean you need to have an understanding partner, because I mean life of an entrepreneur is not very similar to other people. You can't have work-life balance, especially in the beginning. If you are building things, I mean sometimes you are having days like nightmare. So it is not like a flat line; it's like a sinus wave you are having. So an understanding a partner, I think, is essential. So I think we are very fortunate on the terms, to be honest. And I can say, especially after spending some time, you are becoming 100 times more efficient than where you began. Because at the beginning, I was spending my time and my company's time on things that didn't pay out. Now I'm a much smarter investor in terms of time. So I'm much more efficient and also organized. So because if you are managing a large company with 250 people, etc., you have to be organized, because there are thousands of things that you need to spend your time, etc. And of course, family, your kids, among top. So I think this too makes life easier for us right now.
By the way, I call that spouse equity. You have spouse equity, which is that
But I think
overlooked.
you need to ask. You also need to ask our families. I mean, this is our perspective, but maybe they will tell you different stories.
So we're going to end here, even though, again, I think we could talk for another 15 or 20 minutes easily without boring, certainly not the three of us and certainly not our listeners. But I'm going to end now because part of our sort of reason for being is that you can turn this podcast on your way to the supermarket, and before you're finished buying your groceries, you can finish it. So with that, I'll thank Nevzat Atakli and Baris Özdemir from Trio Mobil, the two co-founders of Trio Mobil, which is an amazing, in my opinion, an amazing venture. I love it because it's a real business. It's oriented towards, say, enterprise, but also industrial facilities, logistics companies. It's going into a world that we don't think that much about as a target for technology, not often enough. And here we see the ability to build real value, in part because you have that value, in part you are able to listen to your customers as you talk to them. You're able to engage with them and listen to them and address their really, really significant pain points. And I think, of course, that's one of the keys to building a successful business. So I think with that, I'll say thank you all very, very much. This is Dan Eisenberg signing off from our 9th Scale Up Podcast episode. Remember, Scale Up Podcasts are to help you get ideas, examples, thoughts, and case studies of how to grow companies, the challenges you face, some of the solutions, and not just from this little box in the world, which is an aberration called Silicon Valley, but from the real valleys and mountains and deserts around the world. I think in that respect, Scale Up Podcasts fills a void that needed to be filled. You can we're on Buzzsprout, we're also on Apple, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on LinkedIn and a bunch of other platforms. Like what you see if you like it, and help us spread the word. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Dan. It was great to be on Scale Up podcast today.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it a lot.
Can I end by saying iyi akşamlar?
İyi akşamlar.
İyi akşamlar.